Hi, it's Angela from Angela's Paper Arts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Melbourne, Australia. And today I just want to talk about how we can use the Stampin' Up Stamparatus to quickly mass produce cards. I find this tool particularly useful around Christmas time when I'm having to produce a lot of cards. But I recently had to produce a lot of little note cards like this one, and I use the Stamparatus for exactly that. I use the Stamparatus for one-off cards as well because I find it useful to line up the sentiments and other stamping, and plus you can repeat the stamping. If you're not happy with the first stamped image, you can always stamp over the top and it will get it right in the position for the second time. So what I'm using today, just to show you quickly how to mass produce these types of cards, I'm using the new Brightest Beauty stamp set. This is in the, let me just grab it, it's in the July to December 2022 mini catalogue, and you will find it on page 60. So you can just buy the stamp set itself, or you can get the coordinating dies. And if you do buy both the dies and the stamp set, you get 10% off. So you can see some examples of how this set has been used, and where the dies have also been used to form the wattle. I call it wattle. That's what I'm calling it, but to form the wattle flowers. So I will use this. This is the coordinating stamp set. I'll show you another card soon as to what some of these bits and pieces are for. And I'm also going to use the Biggest Wish stamp set because I like these nice big sentiments. Thanks, hello. I've used the happy birthday options as well quite a bit on other cards. So I find that's a really useful stamp set. It is photopolymer, and of course you know the photopolymer will stain, but it doesn't affect how it stamps. And I can find it on my desk instead of it being clear. So that's the other stamp set I'll be using for the demonstration. So I did use for these cards, I used the Stampin' Up note cards and envelopes. These do come in a pack of 20 that you can get. You can see I haven't got many left in this packet, but you do get the envelope and the card with it, and it's all pre-scored, so it makes it quick and easy to use when you need to mass produce cards. So you can probably see the score line down the middle there, or even the ridge there, always fold into the mountain. So to create the card, it was as simple as adding, now for those of you that may not have seen the Stamparatus before or used it before, I'm just going to put that under there so it's got some support. It is a stamp positioner tool. It's hinged, you can take the plate out, and the advantage of this stamp positioner is that you get two plates, and so this makes mass producing cards really quick. So you can set up with one stamp on one plate and then another stamp on another plate, which you may stamp with a different colour, which is what I'm going to do today. You can also take them out and swap them around and have a different stamp on the other side. So effectively you can get up to what's called 4-step stamping done, because you've got two plates, but you can use both sides. You can see mine is well loved. If you've got red rubber stamps, you don't need this little foam insert that comes with it. You can just put your paper down here and stamp with red rubber onto the base. Because I'm using a photopolymer stamp today, which is a clear stamp, it doesn't have the cling on it, cling film foam on it, which makes up that depth. And so that's why I'm using the little optional, or I should say the little foam mat that comes with it. We also have stamp pads of these papers that can go in here too, that you can get as an optional extra. As you can see, you don't have to. Mine's well loved. This piece, I'll probably refresh it with another piece soon. With the Stamparatus, you also get 2 magnets, and that keeps your paper in position. I've put a little bit of duct tape around mine just so it's easy to lift up, because they are very strong, and you can hear how that clicked onto the base. So to pry that off it is a little bit more challenging of the actual direct magnetic plate. So that they come with it. You get 2 of those with the Stamparatus. The other thing I've done is just make this little corner. I prefer not to stamp right in this corner. I've never liked stamping right in the corner. I find it quite hard, and I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on the plate right in that corner. Whilst you can do that, I prefer not to. So I've just got this little cardboard T-square that I've put together, and I use that to hold, and I'm trying to think which way around. I think I had it that way. Yes, I had it that way, but because I've got everything already lined up, so I want to make sure I'm putting things back the way I had them. So I just use that little bit of cardboard to keep things away from the corner, so that when I stamp, I just put it in here and it's in position. If I wanted to, I can use the magnet to reinforce it as well, but I find I often don't need the magnet with this sort of setup. The other thing I do, you probably saw straight away, I put the stamp case under the plate, and so that when, and I'm using the older style of stamp pads, if you do buy the new ones, they look like this and are easier to open than these old ones, but mine's still going fine. So I just put it on there so that I've got something to, when I'm tapping onto the stamp, I've got some support under there rather than trying to hold it or putting pressure on the hinge part. So just a little tip, put your stamp case underneath. I've already set this up on the plate, and all you then need to do is put some pressure on it. Now, if you do find that you've got weak hands, you may have arthritis, grab your kids' air hockey little, I can't remember what they're called. We use them in air hockey to hit the puck, and just rub that over the stamp, and that takes the pressure off you having to manually do it. And then simply lift, and there's your image all done. So now what I'm going to do, and I'll just swing this around, I'll just remove this plate because I don't need it for the time being, so you can see how we do the next one. So I'm not using Old Olive for the actual wattle flowers, I'm using crushed curry. And again, the same thing, I've got the stamps case underneath. I am just tapping onto there. If you get a little bit on the plate, don't worry, just wipe it off. It won't actually go onto your card. And then I just flip it over and press down. Now press for about 5. Give the ink time to transfer. I'm going to use this again just to make it easier for me. But as I said, if you don't have weak hands, you can just press, but just make sure you get all the different parts of the image pressed, and then lift, and there's the card done. So you can see how easy that is to mass produce, because I'm now ready to put in another card and go stamping and do the same thing again without having to reposition anything. So it's as easy as that to use the Stamparatus. I'm just going to close that, and that's another thing to note. Close one, but don't put that on top, you'll just break it. So just sit that on top separately so you don't break the plates. Now I'll show you, let me just close up my ink pad before I put my fingers in it. I'll just show you another example of what I've done with using this stamp. So I've actually created this one, and you may be able to see I've used the stitched greenery die to create a little bit of background, and I've also used the Fabulous Frames dies, which I have handy. So I've used this big one here, which is also stitched, and it just gives that impression on the frame. What I did do with this one, I used one of the dies. I used the label, sentiment label, to create the thinking of you. So that was used to create that effect. And of course the whole thing's been popped up on foam adhesive strips, so it's got some depth when you get the card. But it's the same stamping, so I just stamped that onto a plain piece of paper instead of the note card while I had it all set up, but then put it onto a full-size card and added the frames and the little sentiment. And last but not least, I'll talk about these bits and pieces. Let me move that. I'm just going to bring this in. I haven't actually stuck this down, but you can, this big die here, die cuts the actual image out, and then you have got the leaves in here, the sentiments, but you've got all these other little dies which you might be able to see, and what they do, if you want to add even a little bit more interest, they give you this sort of effect. And hopefully you can see that clearly. And I've just layered those on top. I haven't actually stuck them down. You can see I've got them in two different colours. One's crushed curry and one's saffron. So you can layer those on top of your stamping. I would use, if I was with this, I would highly recommend the picker tool using the putty end to help pick up these little pieces and put them in place. Just makes it so much easier than trying to do this with just your fingers. So the picker tool, putty end, is very helpful for picking up small things, not just die cuts, but rhinestones and anything else. If you've not seen this before, this gets filled with quite a lot of putty, and you just twist the nozzle here to get more when that dries out. At the other end, you've got a piercing tool, and just by twisting and pulling out, you can swap that over to a little spatula as well. It does come with two different embossing styluses too, so a larger one and a finer one. You can get a die brush now for it as well, so that gets all little pieces out of the dies easily. So I just wanted to show you that I'm going to flick those off. You can die cut it, and it gives a beautiful die cut. And then if you want extra interest, add all these little die cuts onto there as well. So that's all I wanted to show you. The Stamparatus, as I said, I think it's a godsend for doing repetitive stamping, but also if you've got something you need to line up really carefully, you can line it up on the plate. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but the plates, yeah, probably not. Let me just see. You might be able to see that. Oh, you can see my head. You can see there's grooves, there's a grid on the plate as well, which helps you to line everything up straight. So that's it, the Brightest Beauty stamp set. Don't underestimate it. I actually think it's gorgeous, but maybe that's because I'm an Aussie and I like wattle. So thanks for watching. Bye.